Hello students, so the chapter what we have started is health, human health and diseases. Okay, so in this chapter we have already discussed what is health, what is a disease, and what are the different types of diseases. Then different types of infectious diseases also we have covered, isn't it? So basically we have covered the two in detail. So what were they? One was I think it was bacteria and another one was the viral, isn't it? Now we are moving on to the third group, that is the protozoan. Okay, so the protozoan causing diseases, that's what we are going to discuss. Okay, so moving on to this protozoan causing diseases. So two diseases are caused by protozoa, which is given in your book. So one is your malaria and second one is your amoebiasis. Okay, so the first one is malaria and second one is amoebiasis. So malaria, when you are seeing, it is caused by a protozoan called as Plasmodium. So what is the genus name? It is Plasmodium. Okay, so Plasmodium, when you are seeing, it is of three types. How many types are there? There are three types. So what are they? One is Plasmodium, three types of species I say. So one is Plasmodium falciparum, second one is Plasmodium malariae, and third is Plasmodium vivax. Okay, so all these are protozoan which is causing the disease. Genus, they belong to a common genus. What is the genus? It is Plasmodium. And now when you are seeing, the species are of three types: falciparum, malaria, and thereafter vivax. Okay, so out of these three, the most fatal, the most dangerous one is Plasmodium falciparum, which when attacked, it can be severe. Okay, it can even be fatal, it can even cause death. So the common symptoms when you see of this malaria is the symptoms which we usually have during having common fever and all. So what is that? One is your high fever will be there, and there will be shivering, chills. Okay, so again, who is transmitting this? How it is transmitted from one person to another? It is transmitted with the help of a vector. So what is a vector? It is a mosquito. Now the mosquito, you know that there are two types, that is, one is male and another one is female. So the male, they do not feed on blood. Okay, say they don't suck blood from our body. The males, they usually breed in the areas wherever contaminated food and all are present. From there only they will be breeding. They will not be attacking the humans, or they will not be sucking the blood of persons. Okay, so who is the one who is sucking? The females are the one who sucks. Okay, here the type of mosquito which is sucking the blood is female Anopheles mosquito. So the mode of spread is through a vector, that is female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, malaria in detail, life cycle of Plasmodium we will be discussing after I complete this part. Okay, and that is a very important question, life cycle of Plasmodium. Now moving on to the next disease, it is amoebiasis. What is the name of the disease? Amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. Is caused by a causative agent, causative organism. It is Entamoeba histolytica. So what is the name of the protozoan? It is Entamoeba histolytica. So what are the symptoms if you are getting this amoebic dysentery or amoebiasis? Abdominal pain. Okay, yeah, your stomach pain will be there. Stools with excess mucus and blood clots in the stools. You can find some amount of stools, means what? The undigested food which is going. It will be somewhat watery in nature, and there you can find the sticky mucus secretions are there, as well as blood will be there in that. You will be having constipation, that is indigestion. Proper digestion is not taking place, and again at times you will have again loose motion. Again you find constipation, then again loose motion. So like that regularly, means it will be altering with one another. So like these symptoms if you appear, then you are suffering from a disease called as what? Amoebiasis. Okay, now who is transmitting this disease? The transmitter is the house flies. House flies, you know, the common house flies, which they transfer parasites from contaminated food and water. So through the contaminated food and water only they are helping in transmitting the disease from one person to another. Okay, and next is your the disease what we are going to discuss is the fungal disease, which is caused by fungus called as, three types of fungus are there which is causing a disease called as ringworm. Now ringworm, you can see this is ringworm. The person who are suffering from ringworm, they will be having a structure like lesions like this. Okay, so the ringworm is caused by a fungus. So to malaria and amoebiasis was caused by whom? Protozoan. Ringworm is caused by a fungus. So this fungus is of three types which is causing ringworm. One is microsporum, second one is trichophyton, and third one is epidermophyton. Okay. So what are the three? Microsporum, trichophyton and epidermophyton. So what are the symptoms of these ringworms? Allergy like thing. So dry scaly lesions, I have shown you the diagram. You can find on the skin, on the nails also, you can find on the scalps. Okay, scalps you can understand, and thereafter you have itching sensation. Okay, so these are the symptoms of what? This ringworm. How it is spreading? Direct contact with contaminated articles used by used kerchiefs, used towel, okay, used clothes of the infected person. If you are wearing, then you are likely to suffer from this disease called as what? Ringworm. Okay. Now we are moving on to the helminthic diseases. We are going to discuss two diseases. One is ascariasis and another one is filariasis. Okay. So the two diseases what we are going to discuss is ascariasis and filariasis. Who is causing? Worms are causing. Okay. So fungus only one we discussed, that is your ringworm. And what I have told you, intense itching will be there. Thereafter you will have scaly lesions on the skin, nails, or on the scalp you will be finding. So with the infected person it is spreading. Now moving on to ascariasis, it is caused by helminthic worm. The name of the worm which is causing ascariasis is Ascaris lumbricoides. So what is the name? Ascaris lumbricoides. Now this disease if you are having, then what are the symptoms? What you notice is that abdominal pain will be there. Yeah, you know what is abdominal pain. Internal bleeding, you can find the organs in that. Internal bleeding will be there because these worm would have affected that region of the small intestine. Blockage of the intestinal passage, there will be some block in the intestinal passage because of which proper digestion, absorption is not taking place. So these are the symptoms of what? This disease, and usually noticed by what? What is that? Abdominal pain, stomach pain. Okay. How it is spreading? It is spreading by contaminated food and water. The next disease is filariasis. This one, elephantiasis or filariasis. This is the disease you would have seen people suffering from. So this filariasis is caused by a female mosquito called as Culex. Okay. So Aedes is causing dengue, Aedes is causing chikungunya, and thereafter Anopheles is causing malaria. Now Culex mosquito is the one who is causing filariasis or elephantiasis. Okay. So you have seen, so this elephantiasis is caused by a worm. What is the name of the worm? The name of the worm is Wuchereria bancrofti or Wuchereria malayi. So the two types of worms are there, two species are there. One is Wuchereria bancrofti is one species and Wuchereria malayi is the another species. Okay. So what is happening? Inflammation of the lower limbs. The lower limbs you can find there is inflammation. Genital organs and all will be affected. Okay. So genital organ is the sex organs which is also getting swelled up. So like that symptoms you can notice when you are having the disease called as what? Filariasis or elephantiasis. Now we are going to discuss the life cycle of Plasmodium which is causing the disease called as malaria. Very important 3-mark question. Okay, the malaria is a very important 3-mark question. So malaria, when you are saying it is caused by what? The Plasmodium. What is Plasmodium? It is belonging to a group called as Protozoa. Okay, and they are having digenetic life cycle. So what is the life cycle? It is digenetic life cycle, which means they need 2 hosts to complete their life cycle. Okay, with one host they cannot survive, they need 2 hosts. This Plasmodium have to continue its life cycle, means they need 2 hosts. So what are the 2 hosts? One is the human and second one is the mosquito. Okay, so what are the 2 hosts? One is human and another one is mosquito. That type of life cycle we call it as what? Digenetic. Two genetic genus is needed. Okay, so one is the human and another one is the mosquito which is needed. That's why it is called as what? Digenetic life cycle. So malaria, I have told you, it is caused by very different types of species. It can be Plasmodium vivax, malariae or falciparum. And the most malignant malaria, the fatal malaria is most serious one, is caused by what? Plasmodium falciparum. Okay. Now how was this disease caused? You see, when a infected mosquito, actually in the salivary gland of the mosquito you can find there is an infective stage of Plasmodium present, what we call it as sporozoids. What do we call them? Sporozoids. So Plasmodium, the stage of the Plasmodium which is present in the mosquito is what? It is sporozoids. Where it is present? In the salivary gland of the mosquito, you can find the Plasmodium is present. In what stage? Sporozoids. Okay, it is sporozoids. Z-O-I-T-E-S. Sporozoids. Now, when this mosquito is biting me, imagine it is biting me. Okay, so in the hand it is coming and biting. Sporozoids are introduced into my blood. Okay, when the mosquito is biting, actually what they do is that first they pierce in, they eject the saliva into the blood, they suck the blood and take it. Okay, so when the saliva is released, in that what is present, the sporozoids are present. So now this has entered into my body, Plasmodium as sporozoids. Now the blood is infected with what? Sporozoids. Okay, this parasite, that is the Plasmodium sporozoid, is reaching the liver through the blood. So where it is coming? In my hand it has bitten, now it is coming from my hand to my liver. Okay, so where it is coming? It is coming to the liver. It is passing everywhere. When it is coming to the liver, actually what they start doing is that they start reproducing there. Okay, so they are after reproducing, how they are reproducing? Asexually, which means mitotic division. It's not meiosis. Asexually they are going on dividing. So sporozoid is 2n condition, diploid condition. Okay, so they are dividing where? In the liver cells. From the liver cells it is going into, means after they are multiplying much, they burst from the cells and these sporozoids are released again into the bloodstream. Now in the blood what is happening? The sporozoid is going on dividing asexually in the blood. Okay, so now when they are reproducing at a very high rate in the blood, you can find in the RBC, when they are reproducing asexually, they will be releasing a chemical substance called as hemazoin. So what is the name of the substance? They are releasing a chemical called as, it's not given here, here you can find one chemical will be released which is called as hemazoin. Okay, so hemazoin, H-A-E, hemazoin. Okay, so this is the chemical which is released in the RBC. So this chemical, when it is released in our body, there will be high fever, chill. Okay, so that will be noticed. That is the symptom of what? This malaria. So in the RBCs itself, what they will start doing is that they are going to start their sexual stages. Sexual stages means what? They will undergo meiosis. What division they are going to undergo now in the RBCs? This Plasmodium is going to undergo meiosis. So from 2n it will be converted to n condition, isn't it? So here they are in the RBC, they are going to undergo what? Reduction division, that is meiosis, and they will be producing gametes, that is NN, male gametes and female gametes. Where it is produced? In the RBCs. Okay, I repeat, sporozoid is injected into my blood. From the blood it is going to the liver. There they are multiplying asexually. Mitosis division, many numbers are produced. When much amount is produced, they burst from the liver cells and they are released into the bloodstream. Now in the bloodstream they will be undergoing asexual reproduction. The number will become more and they will, all these asexually reproducing bodies will start releasing a chemical called as what? Hemazoin, and this is responsible for causing high fever, chills and all. Now these asexual reproduction, when it is the number has increased a lot, they will go, in order to continue their life cycle, they will go for the meiotic division, and they will be resulting in the formation of the gametes, that is male and the female gamete will be produced. Okay, at this stage in my blood, the male and the female gametes are many in number. Okay, because the cells have undergone, the sporozoids have undergone meiosis. Now listen, when another mosquito is coming and biting me again. Okay, so from my blood what they are taking? The gametes. What they are taking? The gametes, because in my blood now it has been converted into gametic form, isn't it? So the gametes they are taking, the gametocytes they are taking when the mosquito is coming and biting me. This male gamete as well as female gamete is reaching the mosquito's body, isn't it? Since it is sucking the blood from me, so it has reached the mosquito's body. So when this gametocytes is taken along with the blood meal, when it is moving into the mosquito's body, when this gametocytes are reaching the intestine, gut, okay, of the mosquito, there the conditions are favorable for the plasmodium, that is the gametocytes of the plasmodium, to undergo fertilization. What will happen? The male gamete will react with the female gamete, they will fuse with the female gamete and result in the formation of zygote. Okay, so like that fertilization is taking place where? In the gut of the mosquito. So here the fertilization is taking place. So mosquito came and bit me, sporozoids are introduced, diploid, it entered into my liver through the blood, there it started multiplying asexually. After multiplying asexually, numerous was produced, they burst the cells and they released into the bloodstream. In the bloodstream, they started dividing asexually and produced a large amount of sporozoids. Okay. After that, what happened is that they undergo meiotic division, wherein the male and the female gametes were produced. Now, this male and female gamete is present in my blood. When another mosquito is coming and biting me, actually they are taking this male gamete and female gametes. After taking this male gametes and female gametes, the mosquito, when that male gamete and female gamete is reaching the gut of the mosquito or the intestine of the mosquito, there what is taking place? Fertilization is taking place where the male gamete fuses with the female gamete to form zygote. Now this zygote, you see what is happening is that this zygote divides, starts dividing, and they will be producing what? More sporozoids, and these sporozoids will be transferred to the salivary gland. Where it will be transferred? It will be transferred to the salivary gland, and the sporozoids are ready in the salivary gland. Now this mosquito is having what? The plasmodium within them. Now if this mosquito again goes and bite a healthy person, the life cycle will be again continued. Okay, so this type of life cycle we call it as what? We call them as digenetic life cycle, wherein how many hosts is needed? There are two hosts needed, one is the human and another one is the mosquito. Okay, so sporozoids are injected, multiplied in liver, multiplied in RBCs, meiosis has taken place. Thereafter another mosquito, when it comes and bite the infected individual, so what happens? The gametes are taken along with the blood meal, the gametes is going into the intestine of the mosquito and they are causing what? Fertilization, and they are resulting in the formation of zygote, which is again dividing mitotically the zygote and forming again sporozoids, the diploid cells, and the process continues. So this is the life cycle of plasmodium, which is causing the disease called as what? Malaria. Hope it is clear, nobody is having any doubt. So this has been given in the form of what? Points. Just you can go through and make a note of the same in your notebook. What is given in the diagram, that is only the thing what is given here also. Okay, so it's a very important 3-mark question. They ask you at what stage is the mosquito biting the human, in what stage the mosquito is introducing the plasmodium, its sporozoids. Okay, and where is the hemozoin released? It is released in the RBC. Where is meiotic division taking place? It is taking place in the RBC. Where is fertilization taking place? It is taking place in the gut of the mosquito. Where are sporozoids present in the mosquito? It is present in the salivary gland. So these, what is a digenetic life cycle? You know, 2 types of hosts is needed to complete the life cycle. Then we call it as what? Digenetic life cycle. So these things are very important and you should remember. Okay, now moving on to the next topic, that is your immunity. So what topic we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss immunity. Okay, so this immunity, basically speaking, what is immunity? Immunity means the body's resistance to fight against a disease. We call it as what? Immunity. This immunity can be of 2 types. What are the 2 types of immunity? One is your innate immunity and another one is your acquired immunity. Innate means you are having from your birth naturally. Then we call it as innate immunity. Acquired means during my lifetime I am acquiring it. Then we call it as what? The acquired immunity. This acquired immunity is again of 2 types. One is active and another one is passive immunity. Okay. So acquired immunity, how many types are there? There are 2 types. What are they? One is active and another one is passive. In details we will be discussing. Okay. So immunity are of 2 types. What are the 2 types of immunity, ma? One is innate immunity and another one is acquired immunity. What are the 2 types of acquired immunity? It is active immunity and passive immunity. Innate It is naturally present, not any specific to particular disease only this immunity is there, no. Acquired, I am developing it after some attack of some by either by taking vaccine, or I am getting the disease because of which I am becoming immune to the same. So that is acquired. Okay, so it is specific in nature. Innate, it is present right from birth, but acquired immunity I am getting whenever a pathogen is entering into my body. After that I am getting an immunity against that pathogen. Then we call that one as what? Acquired immunity. Okay, one by one we are going to discuss. First, innate immunity, which is present right from birth. They are not at all specific. For this bacteria I am immune, this virus I am immune. No, not like that. It's overall immunity. Body can resist any type of organisms naturally. Okay, so that one we call it as what? The innate immunity. So the innate immunity, when you are speaking, there are 4 types of barriers which is responsible for providing us innate immunity. So what are the 4 types of barriers which is providing me inborn immunity? One is your physical barrier. Skin is very, very important, because the skin which is present in our body is protecting from the entry of many germs. Okay, if there is a cut in the skin, so automatically you can understand the germs can easily take its entry. Okay, so skin is very important physical barrier which is giving us innate immunity. Second one is your mucus. Mucus is what? Mucus is the slimy secretion of the respiratory tract, urinogenital tract. There and all you can find slime like sticky secretions, isn't it? So this sticky secretion is actually having an antiseptic solution in it, which is controlling the entry of the germs into your epithelium. Epithelium means, you can understand, the outer layer of our body. Into that it is not allowing the germs to enter. So the mucus which is coating the epithelium, that slimy secretion is providing you immunity against the germs. Okay, so which is present in the respiratory system, gastrointestinal system, in the urinogenital system. So there and all these epithelium contains a slimy secretion mucus which is antiseptic in nature, and they kill a lot of germs. Okay, not specific germs, many germs they kill. So these are all physical barriers which is not allowing the germs to take entry into my body. Okay, next one is your physiological barriers. So what are the physiological barriers? One is your tears, is your physiological barriers. Tears, if some insects gets in or some dust particles gets into your eyes, immediately you can find the flow of tears comes out from your eyes. Actually it is a defense mechanism. This tears is helping in what? Defense, in which along with the tears all the germs are also moving out. The next is your acid which is present in the stomach, saliva which is present in the mouth. Saliva is antibacterial. Okay, so most of the time you are saying blah 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 blah. So when you are saying like this, actually what is happening is that much amount of germs are also getting into my mouth, but the saliva is having antibacterial property which kills most of the bacteria. Okay, and thereafter you can find, if at all the germs are escaping from my mouth through the food, if it is entering into my stomach, there you can find there is acid, isn't it? Hydrochloric acid which is produced by the stomach, that is controlling the germs. Okay, so killing the germs. So these are all physiological, means functional, producing some enzymes, producing some secretions, and then they are killing the germs. My body can naturally do it, everyone can do it. Okay, it's a natural defense mechanism, naturally present from birth. Okay, next is your cellular barrier. Cellular means what? WBCs, white blood cells, which are acting against the germs. Some they have a good cellular barrier, some they have a weak cellular barrier, but anyhow everybody has the capacity to produce what? WBCs. Okay, so WBCs of our body, like for example the WBCs are polymorphonuclear leukocytes. You learn these names, okay, because they used to ask you. So polymorphonuclear leukocytes, what it is? It is neutrophils. You have 5 types of WBCs we have learned, isn't it? So what are they? One is granulocytes, agranulocytes, broad category. Under that you have lymphocytes, monocytes, neutrophils, acidophils, basophils, isn't it? So like this you are having 5. So this polymorphonuclear leukocyte is one type of neutrophil. Okay, monocytes and natural killers lymphocytes are all what? They are acting as cellular barriers. They will undergo a process called as phagocytosis. What is phagocytosis? Phagocytosis means ptosis. Okay, ptosis. So phagocytosis means if a germ is entering into my body, have crossed my skin, okay, have crossed the secretions of my nose or something else, and the germ was very powerful that it taken entry into my blood. Now what my WBC will do? The WBC will come out of the blood immediately, okay, and they will go and near the germ, it will go and they will engulf the germ and they will kill the germ here. So this process of engulfing the germ when it is getting into my body and killing this germ, this process we call it as what? Phagocytosis. So it is a type of what barrier? It is a type of cellular barrier, okay. And the last one, what barrier we are going to learn is cytokine barrier, okay. So what do you mean by the term cytokine barrier? So our body has a natural defense mechanism in which if a virus is infecting my cells, if the virus is not that dangerous, okay, so this virus infected cells, they secrete a protein. Naturally what they do, they, like in common cold or any diseases, viral diseases, the virus cells, affected cells secretes a protein called as interferons. What they are producing? They are producing a protein called as interferons. So this interferons, when you are seeing this, actually imagine this is the virus infected cells which are present in my hand, okay. So these cells will be producing a secretion protein called as what? Interferons. Now this interferons will be forming a thin film over the infected cells, and they will not allow the non-infected cells to get attacked. The cells which are present here will not be attacked by these cells. Why? Because this interferon is acting as a barrier. Barrier means what? A restriction. They are preventing the non-infected cells from getting infected from the virus, because the secretion is acting as a resistance. It is acting as a barrier, okay. So this type of barrier we call it as cytokine barrier. What do we call? Cytokine barrier, which is provided by whom? The virus infected cells, protecting whom? The non-infected virus cells, okay. So sometimes in our body, if a virus at all is attacked, we have our different mechanism to get rid of the same. How? Some have it, some doesn't have it. The one who is having it, it's lucky enough. So what is happening here? In this, the virus infected cells are producing a fluid, a protein called as what? It is called as your interferon, and this interferon is actually acting as a barrier which is not allowing the non-infected cells to get attacked, okay. So these are the type of what? Innate immunity. So what are the types of innate immunity we have learned? We have learned 4 types of innate immunity are present. One is physical barrier. Outside the skin, the mucus is protecting us from the entry of the germ. Physiological barrier, in case if at all it is entering, we are secreting some substances and killing them. And these 2 barriers are not functional. This germ has entered into my body internal part, then automatically WBCs will start fighting against the same. That is, we call it as cellular barrier. And virus infected cells will protect the non-infected cells by providing a barrier called as cytokine barrier, which is producing a chemical substance, a protein called as interferon, okay. So that is regarding your immunity. Now acquired immunity, I am producing antibodies. For acquired immunity, for that what we need? We need to produce antibodies. These antibodies naturally from mother also I can get it, okay, through breast milk. When I am taking, I am getting the antibody. Otherwise I can produce it in my lifetime also. So antibodies are playing a major role, because whenever a germ is entering into my body, I have to produce what? Antibodies against the germ. If I am producing much amount of antibodies, then the germ will be easily killed. If I am not producing antibodies, then germ is more powerful. Then what will happen? The germ will be taking up and I will be suffering from the disease, okay. So some people are suffering from diseases, some people are not suffering because they are having this defense mechanism, wherein if a germ enters, they can produce antibodies and they can kill the germs before the symptoms appear. Some cases the germ is more powerful, antibodies production is not that much, WBC is not producing. In that case, you can find you are getting attacked by the disease. Now you should know how an antibody look like, okay. So the antibodies, when you are seeing, they are having 2 chains. That's why we represent it as H2L2, okay. H2L2 based on molecular weight, when you are seeing this antibody, there are 2 chains. One is your heavy chain. How many in number? 2, okay. So this is your heavy chain, longer in size, isn't it? Heavy, high, weight. and another one is your light chain. These two are what the light chain. So how many heavy chains are there in an antibody molecule? You can find there is 1, 2. 2 heavy chains are there. And how many light chains are there? 1, 2. So 2 light chains are there. So 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains. That's why antibody is represented as H2L2. Okay. Now there are some specific sites wherein this antibody is going to bind with the antigen. What is an antigen? You know, it is a germ. So if a germ is entering into my body, so what will happen? This antibody will go and bind with the germ. At specific sites only they are going to bind. So what that site the antibody have, that is called as what? Antigen binding site. What do we call them? Antigen binding site. So here you can find the tips, you can find what is present. The antigen binding site is present. Other than that, these two, when you are seeing the light chain as well as the heavy chains, when you are seeing, they are connected with one another with the help of disulfide bridge. So what is that bridge we call? We call it as disulfide bridge. So 2 you can find round is what? Disulfide bridge. So that is the structure of what? This antibodies. Okay. So antibodies are produced by a type of lymphocytes. Lymphocytes, when you see, you know what is lymphocytes, is a type of WBC, isn't it? So WBC, how many types are there, ma? We have discussed granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes, when you are seeing, there are 3 types: acidophils, basophils and neutrophils. And agranulocytes, there are 2 types: monocytes and lymphocytes. This lymphocytes is of 2 types. One is B lymphocytes and another one is T lymphocytes. Okay. So the B lymphocytes is the one who is producing this antibodies against the pathogen to kill them, to kill the antigen. So these proteins which are produced by the B lymphocytes, we call it as what? We call them as antibodies. Okay. So this B lymphocytes are producing the antibodies, and the T lymphocytes, they cannot produce this antibodies, but this T lymphocytes is helping the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Now listen, very confusion. So one of the WBC is lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are of 2 types. One is B and another one is T. B is produced by from the bone marrow. Who is producing the B lymphocytes? Bone marrow. Who is producing the T lymphocytes? Thymus gland. We have learned thymus, isn't it? So T lymphocytes are produced by thymus glands. Okay. So this B lymphocytes are producing antibodies. T lymphocytes do not produce antibodies. They help B lymphocytes in producing antibodies. Okay. So each antibody molecule, when you are seeing, they are having light chain and heavy chain, and they are represented as what? H2L2. Okay. There are different types of antibodies, like you have IgA, IgM, IgE, IgG, IgD. Okay. So these are all different types of antibodies which are present in our body. Some antibodies are present from the mother's milk. What we are getting is IgA. So the mother's milk provide us, we call it as colostrum. What do we call them? We call that as the colostrum, which the mother's milk is providing with me. Okay. So this breast milk colostrum, breast milk is otherwise referred to as colostrum, contains which antibody? It contains an IgA. So what is this Ig? Antibodies are chemically called as, biologically when you are seeing, it is called as immunoglobulin. What do we call them? Immunoglobulin. So immunoglobulin A, immunoglobulin M. These are types: immunoglobulin E, G, D. Okay. So these are types. Don't write down A, B, C, D, E, F. So what is given? That one. Okay. So IgA is provided from the mother's milk. Okay. And IgG is the most prevalent. Much amount of IgG is present. Thereafter you can find in my body IgA will be present, then IgM will be present. Okay. Against the allergy, for allergy, some sort of allergy, I produce antibodies in order to get rid of this allergy. That allergy producing, what antibody I produce is, I produce IgE. Okay. IgE. So some questions you need to know. IgA is produced in the mother's milk, it is present, it is given to the baby. IgG is the most prevalent antibody. Next to it is IgA, and next to it is IgM. And the one which is produced against allergy is what? IgE. Okay. So these are the terms, immunoglobulins, which are playing a major role in our defense mechanism. So that is regarding your antibodies. The rest of the part we will be discussing it in the next class. Hope you have understood till what I have taken. Thank you.